everyone, it's Hazel West, and I'm here with my August wrap-up, the second part of it. I did the first part earlier this month because I had books that I needed to bring back to the library, but now I am able to finish it because it's the end of the month. All together, I read 7 novels and a lot of short stories from a collection, which all of those are in my first video, so I'll get into the rest of what I did this month. Um, I the first one in this part is Once Upon a Crime by Michael Buckley. This was the 4th book in the Sisters Grimm series, which I've been enjoying quite a lot. This one, it wasn't my favorite in the series. I don't really know why. It was, I mean, there was a lot that I liked about it. It just didn't really seem quite as exciting to me. I don't know if it was because I just read it when I had a lot of other things to do, and maybe that's why, because usually that kind of affects how much I enjoy books, is when I don't have time to, like, just sit down and read them. But anyway, this was still a good one, and I really did enjoy the take Michael Buckley took on, like, both Long John Silver's pirates, which essentially were Wall Street people in New York, and also the fairy court, where Oberon, King of the Fairies, was essentially a gangster, and he had his fairy godfathers. Like, I just thought that was pretty hilarious. So, overall, I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars, maybe 3.5. It was still enjoyable, and I still really enjoyed the series a lot. After that, I picked up the book Diva by Susanna Applebaum. This is one I'd seen in Barnes & Noble a while back, and I thought it just sounded really good. It's quite an interesting premise. Essentially, it's about demon hunters, and, like, it goes back to the French Revolution, where kind of you find out in this book that Marie Antoinette was actually possessed by a demon or something, like a high-ranking demon who was trying to open the gates of hell and let demons all over the world. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think about the French Revolution. That's why I thought it was funny. Also, that was apparently, in this book, beheading is a good way to kill demons, so that's why there was all the beheading, and the guillotine was actually made by the the demon hunters, essentially, or used by it. Anyway, this book was kind of one of those that had a really good premise, and then essentially fell through a little for me. While I didn't necessarily dislike this book, it wasn't quite as good as I expected. In fact, I don't know. I think I had so many expectations for this that I was probably going to be disappointed. Anyway, it wasn't a terrible story. It was action-packed, and the main character, Itzy, she was actually a pretty decent heroine. I didn't hate her. She was never gonna be my favorite, kind of heroine. But she wasn't, like, really overly annoying or stupid or anything either. She was just kind of a meh heroine. There was, a good helping of insta-love, which I never enjoyed insta-love. And I think that kind of turned me off the book. I mean, it's like 50 pages in, so where her and the guy share their first kiss. Spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know. Luke, on the other hand, who is the hunk in the book, he's well, I should say supernatural hunk, because usually that's how these stories go. Sorry. Where was I? Oh dear. I can't think today. Okay, anyway. So, Luke was, he's his character is a fallen angel, essentially, but he's also Itzy's guardian angel. Um, and he was, I just didn't like him. I don't know if it's because um, I happen to like my angels more socially awkward and trench coated or not, but he was too much. I don't know. He was essentially just your typical young adult paranormal hero, and he was just boring, and he was too full of himself, and it was all his fault essentially that this happened. But I didn't feel sorry for him because he was an idiot. Um, so I wasn't really fond of him or their relationship. But I mean, there were some other good side characters, um, and the story itself was pretty action packed. So even though there was insta love, there really wasn't like a lot of focus on it. What I did like was that the book is in 3 parts, and the first part is like with Itzy, but the second part is Luke's story. Like she actually wrote out Luke's backstory, like back in the French Revolution. So I kind of liked that because you actually at least got to see it, and it wasn't just, I mean, it was written as his narration, like he was telling it to Itzy, but you actually got to see the story, and it wasn't just like a complete chapter full of like what I like to call a dialogue drop, with just him telling the story. So I did like that, but overall I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. It was interesting, and it's not a terrible read. Like if you want something quick and easy, and kind of quirky, paranormal, supernatural kind of thing, I did enjoy it. So after that, I did a reread of Beastly Bones by William Ritter, the second book in the Jacoby series, because the third one is coming out this month, and I wanted to reread this one again. 5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. I did a review for this one last year, so if you really wanted to see it, you can go on my Goodreads and see this. I will post my review of this one in the description if you would like to read it. But yeah, obviously I loved it. And then after that, I picked up Ghostly Echoes, the third book in the Jacoby series by William Ritter. This one, I have a lot to say about this one, so I think I'm essentially going to just post my written review in the description, and if you would like to read it, you can. Overall, I love this book as usual. There were some different twists this took that I was really not expecting, and I really liked it more because of it. Overall, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.5. I haven't quite decided yet. But I think I'm gonna go with 4 out of 5 because I don't like getting preached to, and there is gonna be more information on that in the written review, but that's essentially why, and I'm really sorry I had to do that, but my principles are just, I have to do it as 4 out of 5 stars, because even though William Ritter is one of my favorite authors, what I'm saying is that, look, you can, I mean, I don't know, I know it's hard, the publishing industry is hard, but you don't have to dance to the fiddle, is essentially what I'm saying. But yeah. After that, I was sent a copy of Twinpathy by C.P. Cook. This is, it's a young adult, kind of a superhero story. I was given it for review. Again, I will link my written review in the description. But I thought it was a really fun story. It's the first in a series, the IDIA series, and it's going to be kind of like an adventure, superpower kind of series. It's about 2 girls who are twins, and they have a telepathic abilities, which I always think is cool. I always enjoy reading stories about twins. But this one, it's fun. It's a little shorter than I would have liked. Like, I think I would have liked a little more to the story. But overall, I really did enjoy the characters, and I thought the idea was really interesting. And even though, like, a lot of superhero stories have they kind of, like, all essentially blend into one for me. Like, to me, I have to have something very different, as far as a superhero story goes. Something like Steelheart or, Vicious, ideally. But this one, I did enjoy. Like, I was actually invested in the story and the characters. I'll give you more information in my written review, but overall, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, for improvement. It's a, I believe, I think this may be a debut novel. I'm not entirely certain. But yeah, I liked a lot about it, but there were a few things that I would, critique on. But overall, it was a really enjoyable story. And the final read I did this month was Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, the first book in the Wolves of Mercyfall trilogy. Now it's a trilogy with a side story or something. I don't know. Anyway, I finally decided to pick this up because I was like, I need something just kind of quick and easy to finish off the month with. So I was like, okay. All the other books on my TBR were, like, super long, so I picked this one up instead. I did not hate this as much as I thought. After I read Lament, while there was a lot that I did like about that book, like, there was a lot I also didn't like about it, and, so Maggie Stiefvater's, early books I've always kind of wary of since then. It really, honestly, I mean, essentially, Maggie Stiefvater has said this book is about werewolves and kissing. That's essentially what it's about. The thing is, it's not necessarily insta-love. Some readers might think it is, but I didn't actually think it was, and I'm usually very shrewd about that. Because of the circumstances of the relationship was kind of interesting. It really isn't that exciting. I mean, not much really happens in this. I mean, the storyline is interesting. Personally, I don't know. I mean, I probably will end up eventually finishing the trilogy. But at the same time, I think the end of this was just kind of nice and left you with a nice end. Whereas, if you go on, what's going to happen, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. But, I mean, overall, I didn't think Grace was a bad heroine. I liked her because she was an introvert. So I connected with her quite a bit on certain levels. But I really, really did like Sam. Of course, I've always liked Maggie Stiefvater's, male characters, for the most part, anyway. Sam was really sweet, but I liked how he was sweet, but he wasn't like, I mean, he still had a good dose of, sarcasm, which was actually kind of surprising, but really pleasant to me. I really liked him as a character, and I actually felt sorry for him and his position. The whole, like, as far as werewolf stories, this was definitely not the most interesting version of the werewolf curse that I've ever seen, but it wasn't necessarily totally cliche either, which I also appreciate, and that's kind of typical for Maggie Stiefvater's books. But, I mean, overall, it wasn't a terrible read. I kind of felt it getting a little tedious, which is why I'm worried about the rest of the series. But at the same time, it was kind of what I needed, because I had a lot I needed to concentrate on, so it was the perfect book to just pick up and read for a couple chapters of, and then you can put it down. So, for that, I liked it. And, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So, that was my August reading wrap-up. I'll be back with my book haul, and, some more stuff in September. If you guys, have been following my blog and stuff, mostly my Goodreads, because I hardly ever blog anymore, I also am having a, cover reveal for my new book that's going to be coming out in October. It's An Earthly King, which is the sequel to Blood Ties, my Modern Tales in Defina. So if you would like to see the cover reveal, stop by the blog Friday. If this video goes up after that, which it probably will, I will have the link in the description of the blog post, so you can go and check that. Either way, I'll link my blog down below. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm very happy with this book, and I can't wait for it to come out in October. So I hope you all come by and check it out. So without further ado, goodbye for the day.